are so bright. Pull your hat down, make sure your cinch is tight. Horse is kinda snuffy, cold chill up your spine. You'll get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight.
Howdy there, I'm Matt McKinley and we're burning daylight.
In the saddle till the job's done right.
Welcome to Burning Daylight, the only podcast for the working cowboy. Brought to you by Stetson Ranches out of Fromberg, Montana. Well, howdy there, daylight burners. Happy Wednesday. I'm on the road to Idaho. We're headed up to see the Braun Brothers reunion, and hunting season is upon us. At least here it is in Nevada. My father-in-law drew 2 tags again this year. That sorry son of a bitch draws a tag every year. I've been here 4 years. I've put in 3 and I haven't drawn dick. So anyhow, like I said, father-in-law, he lives here close and he draws a tag every year. So we will have some game meat in the freezer, hopefully. Knock on wood. And speaking of hunting, got my old buddy from college, Miles Fedenis. Funny story. Up until I talked to him a week ago, I thought it was his last name was pronounced Fedenik. I never thought to ask him how it was pronounced in college. He called me McKinley all the time. I just called him Miles, mostly because his last name's kind of weird. Anyhow, found that out. New thing you learn every day. I hadn't talked to Miles in probably 10 years, but I've drank a ton of beer with this guy. We've partied. We've just spent, countless nights up till 3-4 o'clock in the morning, just shooting the shit and talking shit to each other. And boy, we picked up right where we left off. Miles has done some just really incredible stuff since I last talked to him. He was a professional hunter for a while, and he's been all over the world. He's guided, he's hunted, he's outfitted, and just done a little bit of all, seen a little bit of the whole world. And it was a great time getting to catch back up with him, and I think it was a hell of a conversation. So anyhow, without further ado, here's my old buddy Miles Fedenis / Fedenik. Let's get into it.
Burning daylight. In the saddle till the job's done right. Burning daylight. Well, life is just a gather, and you won't catch 'em all. But when you ride through the gate, make sure you sit up tall. I can see the horizon, it's looking pretty bright. Well, get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight. Burning daylight. Burning daylight. In the saddle till the job's done right.
But yeah, so welcome, Daylight Burners. Got a really good guest on today, a guy I haven't talked to in 12 years or some shit like that, Miles?
It's been a minute. We've, a few Facebook messages here or there, some banter off and on, but been a while, man. Last time I probably saw you, you were passed out on our couch or something.
Probably so. I mean, I did spend a lot of time on that couch. Out on Al Canyon Road. Yeah, there was some good times had out there. Yeah, we drank at least 17 gallons of beer in a month, probably. I mean,
well, I'll tell you what, I think we still have a few kegs at the liquor store in Wellington, but we need Grady or Mike to go get him because they were the only ones old enough to be on the account at the time.
I know that was, well, now Wellington's like a small city anymore.
It's unbelievable.
Oh, it's wild. But Miles Fedenick, for everybody that doesn't know him, he's kind of a low profile
or
hunter. Fedinas.
However you want to say it.
Is that how I always said Fedenick? I don't know. It's Fedinas.
Fedinas is how my great aunt, who was about 94 at the time, lost her shit on my aunt because she said the name wrong. And my great aunt said, well, I don't know who you're talking about because my last name's Fedinas. So from that point on, my last name was Fedinas.
There we go. And I take it that we were good enough buddies from the get-go that I never even asked how you said your last name. I just said Miles.
Yeah, it didn't much matter.
Yeah, I was like, I just knew like you're the little short redhead guy with the little bitty dog, and we drank copious amounts of beer, had good times. But you're a part of the infamous Craig crew that we all know and love. Raftopoulos was kind of the spearhead of the whole deal, but with Raftopoulos came the rest of the Greeks and Miles and Grady and some of my favorite people on earth. I mean, we had some good damn times there in old Fort Collins, Wellington area. And
well, should have been illegal what we were doing. Might have been illegal. I'm not sure. I don't really remember.
Probably most of it was, but we were far enough outside of town. Nobody gave a shit. And that you guys did it right that way.
Yeah. We had a nice spot. Thanks to George, we had a damn nice spot to get in a lot of trouble and never get caught. Yeah,
that's exactly right. I remember there was snowmobile races with no snow on the ground and slap boxing matches, countless hours of roping the cowboy toy in the kitchen,
on car hoods, and
yeah, it was every redneck's dream when it came to college life. I mean, it really was.
Yeah.
And
the amount of horses that came and went out of that place daily. And if I remember right, the covenants that place said that we could have 4 horses or something like that. I mean, it was 30 most days, and just trailers in and out. It was like a revolving door. You didn't even bother asking who was who because hell, I didn't know.
Oh shit, there was always like the main kind of crew, and I was lucky enough to be kind of in that main crew. I didn't live there, but I might as well have. I don't think anybody would have really noticed if I had just moved in, but but it was a good time. It was good people, and so now you're kind of running your own hunting outfit now, and you've been all over the world hunting, haven't you?
Yeah. I kind of wear a lot of hats right now. I went from, in a quick summary, just kind of started guiding because it's what you do around here. It's Craig, Colorado. You hunt. It's half of our economy. So just started guiding and then kind of moved up the ranks, met the right people, got into some better positions, eventually went on to running my own outfitting business, and then tailed that back to where I still have my own, but I actually run some camps for a few different outfitting businesses, as well as work as a hunting consultant and a videographer. So still doing all the things that I did before, just way more of it. Yeah.
Well, hell yeah. So like so you do a lot of your own video stuff then, or most of your own video then?
Used to. I don't film much for myself anymore, but there was a 5-year span where I filmed every single hunt that I was on, whether I was guiding it or whether I was hunting it. So I had a camera with me every single day, just same as I have binoculars with me every day.
That's awesome. I'll have to hit you up for some video tips one of these days, because I'm trying to do some of that myself, and it's a steep learning curve when you're just kind of a dumb shit redneck, It's just like,
I know.
All of a sudden you got an expensive camera in your hand, and you're just like, I don't know what all these fucking settings are.
Yeah. So I filmed all my own shit for like 5 years, and we produced it, put it on the internet, made videos for our hunters, all this stuff. And then I started guiding a guy that's actually cinematographer, producer. He's worked in Hollywood, major motion picture. He did all the advertising for Sea-Doo in the 90s when it was, $1 million budgets. And he's been on Shark Week. And then I started filming for him just as an assistant because I'd guided him a couple times. And then he started teaching me how to actually film things. And holy shit, have I learned a lot in the last, 6-7 years here. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's been fun. Learned a lot.
I bet. Yeah. Well, I'll for sure hit you up for some tips and whatnot. But, yeah. So like I saw you, like you went down to Argentina and where you shot a big red stag down there, right?
Yeah. I've been to Argentina, quite a few times, maybe 10 or 12 times. I used to lease a ranch down there with another guy that I was working with at the time, and we would guide red stag and black buck hunts. And then, that kind of fell to the wayside because it was just too hard to control because we'd lease it for like a month of the year and then they would just rape and pillage the rest of the year and there's nothing we could do about it. Yeah. So I eventually found a really great outfitter that now that's just who I use. And I've been there, half a dozen times or something, or maybe 4 or 5 times. And they're just so good every time. I bring a bunch of clients down there and we have the best time and they take perfect care of us. And so there's just no reason for me to bother with all the headache when they do such a good job with it.
Hell yeah. Well, let people that are good at something do what they're good at.
Yep. I've killed a couple of real big stags down there and they're I like it down there. Like New Zealand is an amazing place, but that's what most people think of when they think stags. Mm-hmm. But the problem with New Zealand is all the big stags are high fenced. And some of the ranches are big enough that it's still fun, but some of them aren't. But in the last few years, they've really taken note of people want more free range stuff. And so they're starting to build their free range stag population back up as best they can. Problem is they're an invasive species there. And so the government just destroys shit. And the outfitters and hunters, they don't have much say in it. Yeah. So they can only do what they can do. Yeah. So is red stag, is that native to Argentina? It's not native to Argentina, is it? I don't think so. It's native to Europe, but it was imported in Argentina. Okay. They do have some high fence stuff down there, but they have a bunch of free range, just wild red stag. They've got axis deer, some fallow deer, free range black buck antelope. I mean, they have all kinds of good stuff down there. And it's just from what I've seen, I've hunted them in Europe. I've hunted them in New Zealand. I've hunted them in Texas. I've hunted them in Argentina. And it's just the best free range stags that I've seen, especially at the best price. So you're looking at half the money to go to Argentina as you are to go to New Zealand or to Europe. Oh, I see. And and I guess for everybody that's not familiar with Colorado, Craig is way up in the northwest corner. So like you grew up in the exact opposite corner that I did. And that's great big open, mountain country out there. So that's a lot of BLM ground, a lot of your free range type stuff. So that's the shit you're used to. You're not used to hunting Texas shit where it's all high fenced and private property and feeders and all that horse shit. It's actual hunting in Northwest Colorado. I mean, it's like the rest of the Western US where it's well, like so it's actually been trademarked. Craig, Colorado is the elk hunting capital of the world. Oh, really? There's the elk population in Routt, Moffat, and Rio Blanco counties, which is the 3 northwest counties, is, I don't think it's bigger now, but it used to be more elk in those 3 counties than any other state had total. Some of the states, their populations have gone up and that's changed, but it's still, it's a game rich environment. So you grew up, that's what you did. Everybody here had their hand in hunting somehow. Right. And so like in my corner of the state, it was all birds, basically. Birds and antelope, and there was so many antelope down there, still is, that they're just a nuisance more than anything.
But it was a lot of upland game. I mean, we didn't have any water where we were, but there's some good migratory routes for waterfowl. But like I said, it was it was a pretty good ways to water for where I was. So we kind of stuck to coyotes and birds. That was kind of what we hunted growing up. I had some buddies that that they went more into the mountains and went hunting, and I always feel like I got a raw deal on big game growing up, because I just eventually just quit putting in for tags because I never drew anything. So I just go hunt birds, and then and so I never even killed a deer, I think, until I was in my 20s, and that was in Kansas, because that's over the counter there. Like, Kansas wants you to come hunt a deer over there. Like they just about give away.
Now, though.
Is it
now
really?
Yeah. So when I was in Fort Collins and I was guiding all that stuff in Southeast Kansas, you used to be able to draw it every year. You still had to put in, but you draw it. Now it's taking a point to draw. And so it's just, as the hunting population grows, these places that used to be good, they're just getting harder and harder to draw. So a lot of my old spots in Kansas are now 1-2 points to draw. So you don't just get a tag anymore.
Yeah, and see, we sold our house. we had some property there in Southwest Kansas, and that particular area, you can buy a buck whitetail over the counter, and then you can buy up to 5 antlerless whitetail over the counter, and they're cheap. I mean, like, especially if you're a resident, it's like $16 or some shit for a tag, or it was. And then the only thing you had to draw for was antelope or mule deer. And if you had property, you could buy a landowner tag, and that was either sex, either species. And it's all farm ground out there. There's pasture ground, but there's a ton of grain crops and if you get on the river, there's a ton of alfalfa. So some of the best venison you'll ever eat in your life, because it just is pretty well beef at that point.
Right.
And you didn't have to pack anything out. You could shoot them from half a mile away, drive right up to where they drop, and just load them on the back of the pickup and go. And it was more of a harvest than a hunt, but it was still pretty fun. And then I'm back out here, and I'm in Nevada now, and 3 years in a row I haven't drawn dick. My father-in-law, since I've been out here, has drawn 2 sheep tags, 2 antelope tags, and I think 2 mule deer tags. He hasn't drawn an elk yet since I've been out here, but he's drawn just pretty much everything else, and I haven't drawn a goddamn thing. It's been ridiculous.
I've been putting in for Nevada for a long time, and I've never drawn a fucking thing either. But Nevada has some unbelievable good hunting, but it's hard to get it right. It's hard to draw. Yeah. There's some other places that are really good, and you can get it, every year, every other year, stuff like that. But you got to hunt your ass off. But it is still good. Yeah. And then there's some stuff that's just like anywhere. You can get a tag for it, but it's pretty shitty.
Yeah. I think he drew a tag in Colorado here a couple times there in they're in the Escalante Canyon area. Oh yeah. And there's some good elk down there, but shit, there's so many hunters there too that it's you like you said, you gotta really hunt, and if you wanna find something worthwhile, you gotta pack in there a ways. And really get off the path a ways.
Right. Well, that's the last about 7 years. I've been guiding down in Southwest Colorado, as well as Northwest Colorado and a few other places, where we're packing in, 11, 12 miles from the nearest trailhead, and then hunting from there. And it's big mountains, nasty country, and you just get farther than everybody. And it's not to say somebody can't walk in there, because you can walk 12 miles in a day to get there, no problem. The problem is, if you kill an elk back there, you can't get it out unless you have the right equipment or horses and all the stuff. So most people don't get back in there. And so we've been able to get into some good hunting, but you just have to get so much farther than everybody on that public land stuff. Oh yeah. Now they've made all that archery hunting down there a draw, which if you put in, you draw the tag, but still just makes it a little bit harder every time they change something for us.
Yeah. But there's also areas like on the plains. You get down in the canyon area, and there's a lot of those plains elk are over the counter tags, but it's a lot of private ground too. So you either got to know somebody, or you got to be quick on the draw on the BLM stuff, because there's it's like a half section here, a section there, maybe like a section of BLM ground on public land. That's a big chunk of land, a full section in that part of the country. Whereas you get out west and you have, it's a lot more open country.
Well, I've got an antelope tag in Wyoming this year that I was up there scouting yesterday a little bit, and without any substantial piece of private ground, there's something like 40 miles by 30 miles, or maybe 40 by 40 miles. That's all just BLM in my unit, and there might be a 640 of private here, a 320, or, there's a couple of little tiny pieces of private out of it, but it's all public. So it's just 100% opposite of Eastern Colorado.
Right. Yeah. And it's kind of crazy in Eastern Kansas. Like you kind of have the same thing, but with CRP, because they give you a little extra stipend to make it a walk-in hunting area, and so you can go and hunt that. But like there's, it'll be a quarter section here, half section there, and
some of that walk-in stuff's really good.
Yeah, it really is. You got to know where to hunt, and you got to be on the ball, because and a lot of times if you could almost just sit out opening weekend and just wait for like the opening day hunters to get done, and hopefully they don't shoot the big shit. But because if you're trying to hunt walk-in land on opening day, good luck. You got to be there early.
Well, and on a lot of that stuff, most of the people that are hunting it aren't out there trophy hunting, so opening weekend, if something comes by, they're shooting it. And then you kind of have it to yourself for a while. I mean, I've hunted some of Kansas, some Nebraska stuff on like for turkeys that's walk-in access and that. And it's really good country. I've never messed with the deer hunting on it because I'm always so busy that time of year that it's just kind of not worth my time to go up there. But if you just give it a little time, then you end up having the place to yourself a lot of times.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty neat. Just like how different it is. And, cause like I know down south where it's all whitetail, they got a different scoring system on the rack. And then, a lot of times they'll weigh them and whatnot, where, nobody's weighing a mule deer when they shoot it out here. You're
right. Yeah. You talk to some people and they won't have any idea what the antler scored, but they'll tell you how much it weighed.
Yeah.
And nobody weighs a mule deer.
No,
that's not, nobody. I mean, I like mule deer as good as any game meat, but not very many people are shooting mule deer for the meat. They're hunting them for the antlers. Even me, for instance, I get a mule deer tag when I can, where I can, if it's in a good area, because I don't have a desire to shoot a little one.
Yeah.
But I love hunting mule deer as much as anything on earth. But I do hunt whitetail every single year, and I kill whitetail every single year. And so I always have some whitetail in the freezer, so I don't have to shoot a mule deer. I rarely kill elk for myself because I just don't care if I ever eat it again, and I don't care if I ever shoot another one. If they're not bugling and screaming their heads off, I don't care if I ever hunt one.
Yeah.
Now I'll guide 50 of them this year, but that's just a part of the game.
Yeah. Yeah. I've never, I've been around, I've never hunted elk, but I've been, I was up around Saratoga, Wyoming, right during the rut. So, I mean,
it's good country.
Yeah, so you could hear them, from miles away bugling, and it's cooler than hell.
That's fun.
And I love elk meat. I just never drawn a tag, and but I like I like mule deer, but that whitetail is pretty damn tasty. I mean, it's
you want to watch people get divided like our country is right now. Right now, I'll tell you, my favorite game meat in North America is pronghorn antelope. I think it's better than everything else. Oh, yeah. But I'll guarantee you there's 50% of your listeners just now went, bullshit. It ain't even edible.
Well, especially a lot of the guys out on the plains, they don't care. And I'll eat it. I don't mind it. It's but it's far from my first choice of game meat. I think like a spike, a spike whitetail is about as good as it gets. Just a good young buck. It's damn good, and it helps when they're eating corn and alfalfa too. That doesn't hurt a damn thing. Right.
Well, pronghorn. The thing with pronghorn is you have to kill them correctly. Everybody knows you need to get them cooled off, get the hide off, and that stuff. But the plains is the worst for this because you can see them for so far. And so you drive up, you get them running, you chase them around for 45 minutes. You finally get a shot, you blow a leg off, and then you chase them around for another 45 minutes. You finally get them killed. You throw them in the bed of your truck. You take them to town. You show your 3 buddies, and then you get them home. And then you get him skinned, and you wonder why he tastes like shit. Well, he's full of lactic acid. He's been sprinting around full of adrenaline. His muscles are full of lactic acid. Like, no, go shoot a steer. Go shoot a 6-month-old calf.
Yeah.
And blow its leg off and chase it around your pasture for an hour and shoot it in the neck and then tell me how it tastes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just part of the deal. If you kill them correctly, it works good. Deer are usually standing there when you shoot them, but antelope aren't.
No,
so if you kill them right, they taste good. If you don't, they don't.
Yeah. No, and that's a big part of it. It's, getting them dropped and dead with a minimal amount of running, get them gutted, get them cooling down. And then, I mean, it's like all meat, just like the least amount of stress you can do. A clean, ethical, quick kill is the way to go. And, and we were talking just a little bit before we started recording here, and we're bringing up Rogan and how he's brought so many people into the hunting fold, and with that comes good and bad. And I personally like the way Rogan approaches it. I think he's got a little bit too much of the spiritual bullshit that Ranella kind of harps on. And don't get me wrong. I think he's good for the business as a whole. I think it's good to get somebody with that big of a platform and talks to so many different people from different walks of life that know that, like, hey, this guy is like a pretty bona fide liberal that loves elk meat that he killed himself. And like, that's an important thing to have out there. And
it's very good. It's very good in the terms that his audience is so different than the general hunting audience.
Yeah.
And so we have such a huge just weight on our shoulders trying to get rid of the Bubba stigma of hunters. That everybody's just some bloodthirsty Bubba out there, redneck. And so having Rogan speaking on our behalf is great because he's speaking to a different audience that knows that he's not completely biased the way that somebody like myself or a standard hunting TV show, Michael Waddell or somebody's going to be, but he still is out there doing it and understanding why we as humans, why that's part of our nature. You know, I mean, we're meat eaters. We have canines.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And, it just, and it plays into the whole ag industry too, because 95% of the people in the U.S. eat meat on a regular basis. And, but it seems like we're always trying to convince people that it's okay to eat meat. they already eat meat. We don't have to convince them. I mean, like we really don't have. We don't have to convince them. And most
the problem
of the people
is that we kill it, and that's a problem. The meat that they eat doesn't ever get killed in their mind.
Right. Exactly. But if you put a deer steak in front of them and you cook it right and everything, and it's a good piece of venison like we all know and love, and you don't tell them that it's venison, they're gonna eat it and be like, "Man, that was really good. That was a little different, but it was good." And you're like, "Oh, it's a deer I shot last fall," and they're like, "Oh, well, I don't know about that." Well, why not? Like, you ate it. It was fine. You liked it, and guess what? We did it the right way. It's
right.
Yeah. It's he's a very important voice, but like we were also talking with like Yellowstone and some of these social media. I don't want to throw anybody out and get too much flack for it, but it made cowboy and cool again. But with that, it brings a bunch of fucking gunsoles. And same way with Rogan and the hunting, you get a bunch of somebody that goes out and buys a $600 compound bow, but doesn't have a fucking clue how to do anything. And then, and that now you're having to pack in a little further. You have to search a little harder to get some good hunting ground. And it's pros and cons, I guess.
What drives me crazy is how many people are willing to just blatantly lie to get something free out of a sponsorship or something because they want to be famous like somebody that they see on Instagram or TV or whatever it may be. Yeah. And to just see the bullshit that comes out because somebody sent them a 12-pack of arrows or somebody sent them a free elk call or, whatever it may be. And they're willing to just tell everybody how great it is, even if it's the biggest piece of shit product ever made. Yeah. And that's what I don't like about some of these bigger name people and the money that is being made now. It's really brought out people that want the image, but don't live the life.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good way to put it. Yeah. They're reaping the benefits, but they're not. Yeah. And in the long run, they're doing us all a disservice. It's just because that shit comes out in the end too. Like somebody will get tired of it and then the jig is up, and then that just puts another stain on the hunting community, and we don't need any more stains on the hunting community
or the livestock or the cowboy community.
Yeah, it's same way. Like how many dumb shit PETA videos have gone viral, and the poor guy that was the part of the video or the subject of the video, like, you see him kicking a little Holstein calf in the head, but they don't show like the hour and a half leading up to that point where he's trying to save this calf, and that calf is actively trying to die on him for no apparent reason. And you finally just have it up to here, and you're just like, fuck it, fine, die then. You kick him in the head, and then, well, boom, now you're the face of a PETA video. And he's probably some poor Guatemalan dude that's just trying to make $5 an hour and send some money back to his folks. And now he's probably deported. And then in the meantime, you're just like, oh, big ag. They're and it probably wasn't even a big ag outfit. It was just some small dairy or whatever. And oh man, this is an excellent episode, isn't it? I know you're loving it, but there's some people that helped me put this whole thing together for your ears, and I got to tell you about them because guess what? They pay me to do so, and because they pay me to do so, I'm happy to tell you about them. Stetson Ranches, you heard them at the top of the show. They're a multi-generational ranch family, and they focus on the things that matter most in any good cattle operation, any ranch. That's horses and cattle. And those cattle, they're going to be turned into delicious USDA prime beef. Going to be delivered to your doorstep on dry ice. These are registered Black Angus cows being bred to registered Hereford bulls. And these calves are going to be fed out the highest quality feed ingredients, and it's going to be some of the best beef you've ever had in your life. Like I said, delivered right to your doorstep. You can buy a quarter or an eighth, $6.95 a pound. But the really cool deal they got going on is a monthly subscription box. It's $125 a month. You get 8 to 11 pounds of beef. That's hamburger. That's stew meat. That's a roast, and selected cuts of steak as well. And if you use the promo code Move Your Ass, MOVEYERASS, you'll get 20% off your first month. It's a really good deal, really good people, and the beef is just phenomenal. They've also got some of the best quarter horses out there. Tina's done a really good job of finding and maintaining the some of the best foundation quarter horse bloodlines out there. We're talking these mares go back to Zanpar Bar, Two-Eyed Jack, Peppy Sand Badger, Doc Bar. And speaking of Doc Bar, they just picked up a new stud who's own grandson of Peppy Sand Badger, as well as Doc Alina, grandson of Doc Alina on the bottom side. Their mares are bred to a stud out of the King Ranch. They got a full crop dropping this spring. And these colts are going to be big, shapy, athletic, heavy boned, great disposition, level head, and ready to go any which way you want to take them. Excellent horses, excellent beef, and even better people. StetsonRanches.com for the horse information. Stetson Beef if you'd like to order some meat. And remember that promo code, Move Your Ass, and just let them know you heard about them on Burning Daylight. Next up, we got Thunderbird Equine, Miss Jessica Pancos. She's down in Sandia Park, New Mexico. She's a third-generation rancher, second-generation horse trainer, focusing on vaquero-style horsemanship for your colt, your horse, or your mule. She is now a mule skinner. They're going to get practical ranch-type experience. They're also going to get roping experience, either heading, heeling, breakaway, ranch roping. They're all options. They'll probably get all of it. She accepts colts to start, and as well as tune-ups, and just working with your horses. Either way, 60-day minimum. If your colts, you can expect a quiet, confident, respectful colt with all the right tools to move on to any discipline of your choice. Horses and mules in for finishing. They can be expected to develop a harder stop, more collected frame, and precise movement through leg cues. They will develop the confidence to do anything you'd like under saddle, whether that be mounted shooting, roping, trail riding, or cattle work. And they're probably going to perform a little bit better than that German lady's horse in the Olympics. I'm not going to blame that on the horse. Kind of a weird deal there. Anyhow, you don't have to worry about that when you're sending your horses to Thunderbird Equine. At the end of the program, you'll get 5 free lessons to reacquaint yourself with your new equine partner. Give her a holler, 720-205-2996, or you can find her on Facebook and Instagram, Thunderbird Equine. Shoot her a message there. Next up, we got Tracie Morrison, Custom Silverwork. He is out of Chelsea, New Mexico. Great guy, making some really cool, just cowboy shit. Looks good. Bits, spurs, buckles, money clips. We just gave one of those away. By the way, I'll mention those later, but Tracie's a great guy. He's building really cool stuff, priced for the working cowboy. And he's a friend of the show, big time supporter, and I appreciate the hell out of him. You can find him on Facebook and Instagram. Just check him out, Tracie Morrison Silver. That's TRACIE. His Instagram handle is T Morrison _custom silver on Instagram, and you can find him there on Facebook. Same deal. Tracie Morrison, go check him out. Great guy. Next up, we got 4T Ag Insurance, Mr. Colt Tritt, and they're based out of Texas, but they're licensed in most states. They provide coverage for pasture, rangeland, and forage, which is a drought insurance, annual forage insurance, equine insurance, animal mortality, livestock risk protection, daily revenue protection for milk, pasture fire, and that's just to name a few. They're in the ag industry that he can most likely provide coverage. They're licensed in most states, and just a really good deal. He was telling me about some folks down in Arizona that really do well on this insurance program that he's got. So you can find him on Facebook, 4T Ag Insurance, or you can give him a holler, 817-559-5770. That's 4T Ag Insurance. And then also along those lines, we got Cultivated Ag, Miss Krista Gilbert. She's a friend of mine from college, and she is now selling crop insurance there in Burlington, Colorado. She's licensed in Colorado, Kansas, and New Mexico, but there's also she's also reciprocal in Texas and California. I know we got a lot of listeners in both of those states, and she's same thing. She can do just about all ag insurance. She focuses more on the crop side of things. So if you're looking to renew yours or find some new insurance, you can give her a holler. 719-342-2112. That's Cultivated Ag Management. They're in Burlington, Colorado. Thanks again to all the sponsors. I sure appreciate the hell out of you guys. They really help me keep the lights on, keep me updated on the technical stuff that I got to do here. Also, if you don't like hearing ads, you can head over to patreon.com/burninDaylight, where we just give away a bag of coffee from Black Rifle Coffee. Mr. Joe Rolak was the lucky winner there. Tracie Morrison donated a really nice silver money clip as well as a horn cap. Excellent engraving, beautiful stuff. Stephen Chapman was the winner of the money clip. Jake Smith wins the horn cap. So this month we got Matt Wilson making us something cool, and we'll see what else we can throw in there to give away. Try to give a couple different things away for the different levels there. So anyhow, patreon.com/burninDaylight. You can sign up there. Anywhere from $1 a month to $100 a month. Depends on what you want to do, how much you want to support me, and you get some cool little kickbacks for it. So anyhow, I appreciate all you guys that subscribe there, and I appreciate everybody that sponsors the show. It's really cool, really humbling, and appreciate you. So now, that being said, let's get back into this excellent episode that you were listening to.
Well, we deal with it every week in that. I mean, you just wait till it's your turn to get ridiculed on the internet over some picture that was, who knows where. So that's I don't do much on social media anymore because it's not worth it. It's not. I'm not going to put my clients in that position. Look at that doctor that shot that lion that was on its deathbed. That, by the way, the collar that was on it was paid for by a hunting group, not by PETA or any anti-hunting or anything else. It wasn't the damn Discovery Channel that was paying for it. It was a hunting group that put that on him. And it was not in the park. Everything was legal. Mm-hmm. But look at what happened to his life, all because of a picture on the internet. Yeah. And so I'm not willing to do it. So I struggle with the balance between social media, which you have to have. I'm contractually bound to have a couple. Yep. And then doing your thing, Mm-hmm. I mean, I have sponsorships that I do my best to sell enough of the product, and the products that I truly believe in, or I wouldn't do it. In my camps, I have verified buyers in my camps. I don't need to market to teeny boppers with no money for these products because they can't afford them. Some of them aren't legally old enough to buy a rifle. But I just my rifles shoot well, my optics do well. And in my camps, my hunters get to use my rifles and they like it. And then they go buy one, but they're verified buyers. These guys paid $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 to be there. Whatever you're selling, they can buy. So I prefer to market to those people instead of trying to get a big social media following that I know for what I'm doing doesn't matter. Yeah. I used to do a lot of TV shows, and some of them were really good, some of them weren't. And it was interesting to see the ones that actually sold hunts for you and didn't. So from an outfitting perspective, a lot of these TV shows back in the day, back when there was like TNN and ESPN2 and that stuff. So, you know, there was like Tom Miranda and some of these guys. And if you got to be an outfitter on their show, everybody in the world saw you, and that was, other than being in the back of a magazine, that was your best advertising. Yeah. Now there's so much advertising. Nobody's giving a free hunt away. Nobody's comping you shit because, you know, I've told how many people, you book me 10 hunts, I'll give you a free hunt. Yeah. And nobody's willing to take that bet. Yeah. But these TV shows, you'd get the really popular ones, the ones that sponsors would pay a lot to be on. And you guide those guys, and nobody would ever buy a hunt. You'd get hardly any phone calls. You might get an email here or there, because nobody that buys hunts was watching that stuff. Yeah. But you get some of these like weird ass. I guided a guy out of Texas one time that hunts mostly high fence, honestly, and he's plumb happy with it. But his following is a bunch of rich guys that don't give a shit how it's done. They just want to kill it. And I booked a lot of hunts off him because they could afford it. Yeah. You know, so the cool stuff's not always the stuff that pays the best. Right. Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's, but you gotta, and you know, like, well, like I've known you for a while, and like I know that you truly love hunting. I mean, it's like you said, it's just what you do in that part of the world. But you still got to make a living, so like you gotta find those guys, and if they're willing to pay, then you gotta that's where you make your money. So you gotta not only you gotta do your job, but you gotta keep them coming back and telling their friends and whatnot, so that your business keeps on going and growing. Right. Well, and like for me to make a living in the hunting industry, everybody wants your job, you know, and there's 100 guys that are willing to do it for less or for free if you'll just give them for a hat or pack arrows, or, you know, God forbid, you actually give them a pair of boots or a little bit of clothing. They'll do whatever you want. So you have to find a way to actually make money at this. And so guiding and outfitting is one. Like I said, I do a lot of videography work, kind of freelance stuff as a side gig, but then I work as a consultant full time as well. And I send people all over the world. You know, I've been quite fortunate in this gig to travel. I've been 6 continents and 30 countries or something. And, you know, most of the states, I think I'm missing about 6 states or something right now. And I'm not sure why I'll ever go to the 6 I'm missing, but I'm guessing they're all in the Northeast. Yep. And I have been to a couple of the far Northeast ones, but man, there's a little chunk out of that thing that I just don't have a great desire to be in. Yeah. But, you know, I've got to travel the world and do a lot of cool things with a lot of really cool people. And, it's I've gotten rich in experiences, but I'll tell you what, the dollar bills aren't near as good as the experiences are. Yeah. Yeah. I can imagine. I've kind of, you know, when you were a little more active on social media, you know, here, you know, 3 or 4 years ago, I was kind of living vicariously through you, because it seemed like every week you were, you had it was the big trophy, something or other that you had just shot, whether it be in Argentina or hunting with Schroeder down in southern Colorado. And you're just like, shoot one and then you're just on to the next one. And, you know, it's like, man, that seems like it seems like a lot of fun, but at the same time, you're just like here, there. And it becomes work. You know, I guess it's 3 years ago now, come September, I sold my place. I had a little piece of ground, southeast of Craig, about 20 miles up in the hills up a canyon it was a great spot. Marco was right. And I was kind of wasting my time being up there because it just wasn't, it was a headache to have to go there with how busy I was. Yeah. Even though it was a great place. So I sold it. And hell, I went homeless for 2 years. I just bought a little house in town last fall because it was the right situation, the right deal. But I went homeless for 2 years because I was gone that much where I didn't have to worry about where I was going to stay.
Yeah.
Because I was either in a lodge, in a wall tent, in a spike tent, or in a hotel all year long. I had 2 months of the year total where I'd call a buddy and be like, "Hey, George, mind if I stay on your couch for 5 days?"
Yeah.
It was not a problem.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I didn't have to buy a house because I was never there. So that's the problem with, like, my job sounds really cool, but it's work. You're gone all the time. It's damn hard to have a girl. Well, it's damn hard to keep a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Having a family is nearly impossible.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of things that go with it that you got to be willing to, give and take.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's but like, it seems like you kind of found your niche, and I mean, yeah, you get to do what you love, even if it, when it becomes a work, I guess it's, maybe that the love kind of wanes a little bit, but it's still, you get to go out and either hunt or show people how to hunt or show where to hunt. And that's, it's hard to beat that.
Yeah, it's a good time. And I mean, you get to meet some of the greatest people in the world. You get to meet some of the worst, but some of my very best friends in the world came through hunting. And
yeah,
I would have never been even in the situation to meet them, if it wasn't for hunting.
Yeah.
So now I've got a buddy named Will Brantley. He's the hunting editor of Field and Stream. And we hunt or fish, 2 to 3 times a year, sometimes 4. And that's been that way for the last like 12 or 13 years. And we've got leases together. We got all kinds of shit. He's one of the greatest humans I've ever known. And I would have never met him if it wasn't. I had a meeting with Realtree at the time when they were helping me out. And he took a position at Realtree that basically took the place of my contact at Realtree at the time. And we were forced to meet, and we've become the best friends that you could ever imagine. I know some celebrity people. I know some country singers. I know, just these people that I would have never been in that circle had it not been through something like this. So
yeah,
I wouldn't give anything that I've done up for sure, but it is still work. And sometimes you get tired of it and need a little break, but
yeah,
it's better than the alternative. I can promise you that.
Yeah. Well, what's the coolest place you ever got to hunt?
All of them. There's not everywhere has its own thing. Like, Africa was the first place that I fell in love with outside of, like, we live in the greatest place on earth.
Yeah.
I fell in love with Africa, and man, it was heavy on my mind for a lot of years to just move there. Now, luckily, I got to be good friends with some Africans, and I know smart enough, I guess, to realize that once you move there and you have to pay taxes and make a living and do all the same things everybody else does, all of a sudden the fun and the new wears off. And so I've spent a lot of time there. I've got about 6 or 8 months total in Africa, maybe a little more. And then the next place that I fell in love with was Argentina. And
okay,
I could live, if Africa wasn't such a clusterfuck, I could absolutely live there.
Yeah.
Argentina, if I ever have to run from the law, I'll probably be there.
Nice.
I've been around Europe some, and there's some really neat places, but it's too European for me. New Zealand was just too small. It's, in a couple of days, you can be all the way around both islands. It's awesome country. It's a lot of fun, but I would never want to live there. I'd get claustrophobic.
Yeah.
I've been to Mexico a lot in the last few years, and I love Mexico. We go inner Sonora, guide mule deer and coos deer and desert sheep. And, once you get out to the ranch in the middle of nowhere, there's no cell service. Sometimes we have some Spanish TV, but that's, man, life is slower and better there.
Yeah.
For us. But there's a lot of great places out there. Everywhere has their little thing why you just love it. Austria, I had so much fun there because it is the most beautiful place I've ever been. But every time we'd go to town, I didn't care for it much because the way they did things and the attitudes of some people and whatnot, it wasn't my thing.
Yeah.
But it was still an amazing place to be.
That's what I've heard good things about Austria. And do you know Major Boddicker?
No, I don't think I do.
Okay, so he's the guy that he invented the critter call. You remember those open reed coyote calls?
Yeah. Okay, yeah. No, I know exactly what you're talking about.
He lives up over by the LaPorte actually, but he
I lived there once.
Yeah, I spent some time in LaPorte.
Swing station.
Oh yeah. He would go over to he sold a lot of those calls in Romania and like South Africa and just all over the world. And they'd have him come over and teach him how to hunt predators. That was his big deal. I mean, he's a big hunter anyways, but predators was his main deal. And so he sold them to jackal hunters over in South Africa and Romania. And he was just talking about how different it is but just like, yeah, he was kind of the same thing with South Africa. He said it was amazing. He fell in love with it, but he's like, boy, you might think you've seen racism, but you haven't seen anything till you go to South Africa. He's like, that's a whole nother level there. And but it's I don't know. I've been reading a lot about like Mozambique, and I wouldn't mind going over there and just kind of.
I've been to Mozambique. Around. Mozambique was a blast when I was there, and it's such a beautiful country. It's still struggling to come back from the war they had 45 years ago or whatever it is.
Yeah, it was like the Bush wars there.
Yeah, but it's an unbelievable country. And we fished on this big lake for a couple of days and caught a bunch of tiger fish, and then drove over the coast and went to this, we just drove down the beach till we found some resort. And we were in the off season. And so there's nobody around, but we just hit up this little resort, sat there on the beach for 2 days and drank ourselves and ate ourselves stupid for a couple of days. And then went back, did some more fishing, went back into South Africa, did some hunting. I was just in Zimbabwe last year, and Zimbabwe is a really cool country. Other than when you land, you just get the hell out of town as fast as you can.
Yeah.
Because the cities are so messed up. And so it's not, the cities are just terrible. But
now, Zimbabwe, that's what they used to call Rhodesia, right? That was, that's kind of where those, like that Bush war kicked off, was like Rhodesia, and then it spread to like Mozambique and well, like all of Africa. They fuck.
Right.
the white folks fucked up Africa for a long time.
Well, you should see it now. It's not the white guys that are doing the problems now. It's just complete and utter bad ideas that's just destroying it.
Yeah,
you take a farm, take any nice farm that you can think of that somebody's worked for 40 years to make a productive, money-making, nice farm for a family. And then somebody comes in and decides, no, this is where my ancestors were from, so now this is ours. You're out, and we're going to eminent domain. We're going to give you what we think it's worth, which is pennies on the dollar. And now you're out, or they kill you. And so you leave, and they go into this nice, what here would be a $500,000 or $800,000 house, and they tear the walls down, steal all the copper out of it, sell it for booze. The cattle live inside the house. They go build their brick shacks next door, and then they take all the copper for the electric wire to the pumps and everything else. And now they're out of water. Yeah. And then now everything starves to death and everybody's back to where they started. And it takes all about 3 months for that to happen.
Yep.
So you go over there. So a friend of mine from South Africa, he was born and raised there. He actually moved here 2 years ago and is now farming up in South Dakota. My first trip there, he said, you know what the difference between a tourist and a racist is? 2 weeks.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine.
There's places that like it's not a blanket statement necessarily, but like
yeah,
I've seen places that I was like, well, you're killing yourselves, guys. You're not willing to help yourselves. That's the problem.
Yep.
And so I don't know. That's why I live in America.
Yeah, we've got it pretty damn good. I've never been over there, but I've read enough, and it's just like, yeah, like you said, there's there's that whole deal of like the colonial deal, like it's set, like it brought them into the modern world, but then all of a sudden like the colonial part of it's gone, and now you're turning it back to the natives. And boy, there's a lot of like just pent up hatred from just not just
it's
decades.
So corrupt that so corrupt that you're not gonna get it back, because the highest up in the government is they're so corrupt that the people are getting screwed no matter who has control.
Mm-hmm.
So
exactly,
that's why you see like my buddy and you see a lot of the farmers and ranchers and the Afrikaans, you see them just leaving in droves.
Yeah,
because it's just too hard to make a living.
Yeah, well, you're seeing it here with like everybody just flooding out of California and New York. Yeah. Same damn thing. And
right. Same problem.
And it's hold on just a second. I'm shut the door here. Oh. Yeah, it's and you listen to some of these guys that come back from like Iraq and Afghanistan too. It's the same way. Like, we went in and took out Saddam. Now you've got the Shia majority that had been suppressed for so long. Now they're in control, and like they're using weapons and training that we've given them to settle like generations old feuds that they've had. Yeah. And it's just a shit show. And it just makes you really, really, it really puts it in perspective when you hear some of those guys talk about like, boy, we have got it good over here.
Well, I was in Dubai 2 years ago, and I had a day to kill, and I booked just like a city tour on this bus thing from my hotel. I was by myself. I had nothing else to do. And I walk outside, and this kid standing next to Alexis, younger guy. He's like, "Hey, you going on the tour?" And I'm like, "Well, that's the plan." He's like, "I'll give you a way better tour." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm not sure I want to pay your prices." And he's like, "Nope, same price." And I'm like, "Fair enough. I don't want to be stuck on the bus with 40 people and no air conditioning." So I jump in, and is a 26-year-old Pakistani kid. And he took me around for 5 hours that day and showed me everything and took me to all the secret places and showed, like, this kid was awesome. And we had a ton of fun. But I asked him some hard questions that day because I'm not well versed in the Middle East and those politics and the military and that stuff. And so I asked him, I said, what do you honestly think of America or Americans? And he said, no, that's my dream. That's everybody's dream, is to get to America eventually, where you actually have the opportunity to go make something for yourself if you want to. You make whatever you want out of yourself, because they don't have that opportunity. He was basically driving a taxi in Dubai, coming from Pakistan, driving a taxi in Dubai because he was taking care of like 7 siblings and his parents. And he was making what was equal to about $600 a month.
Oof.
And he was living in a 1-room flat with 7 other guys paying what was equal to about $1,400 a month in rent. So that's why there's 7 other guys in it.
Holy shit.
And so, yeah. And that's, he said that his parents were too old to work. He's got 6 other siblings that really, there's no work in Pakistan. So he's there trying to take care of his entire family on about $100 or $200 a month when expenses and everything are paid.
Yeah.
You know, which is impossible. And so obviously, like, he did such a good job for me that I tipped the hell out of him. But you know, it was interesting to hear him. He's like, no. We all want to go to America. That's the place to be.
Well, and then you look at where he's actually from, you know, and Pakistan, like, you got Afghanistan on one side, which is, you know, the graveyard of empires. And it seems like nobody learns that because people just keep trying to invade Afghanistan and lose. I mean, we just did it. So, and then on the other side, you have India, who hates you with a fiery passion, and you both have nukes pointed at each other, by the way. So, like, that's a cool place to live. It's like, fuck, man. Why the hell would you not get out of there?
Right. But I'll tell you, that kid was fantastic. And I told him, I was like, man, I gave him my card. I was like, you ever make it to America, you got a job. Like, you just get here because I'll hire you.
Hell yeah.
He's a working little bastard.
Yeah. And you know, I work with a lot of Mexican guys from old Mexico, and you listen to some of their stories too, you know, where like I work with a guy from Mexico City, and he moved over here. He was a butcher for a while. He does it, you know, he's got his own side gig, you know, just little slaughterhouse that he run. Not really a slaughterhouse, but he's got like a mobile farm slaughter type deal.
Right.
And, but shit, you know, half of your paycheck, if you're making any money at all down there, it goes to bribe either the cartel or the cops or a government official, one of the three. And, you know, it's just, man, we really got it good over here.
You know, that bribing brings a memory of Mozambique back. We just crossed from South Africa into Mozambique, and we're driving, and there's 4 of us in the car, and, we're just cruising along, you know, no big deal, having some drinks and cruising along. And all of a sudden we start getting pulled over. And so the cop walks up and he tells us we were speeding, doing whatever, all this bullshit, and which we might have been. But he asked us, he wanted, I can't remember the amount of meticas that he wanted, but it was, none of us even really knew the exchange rate at the time. But I knew for sure, since I had 0 meticas on me, I knew I certainly didn't have however many he wanted, because it was like 28,000 meticas or something that he wanted.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, I don't know how much that really is, but I'm certain I don't have that.
Yeah.
And so then he goes down, he's like, okay, well, I'll take 4,000 Rand. And I was like, well, that's like $400. I'm like, fuck you, man. That's, you know, that's a little steep for your bribe. And so I pulled out $100 bill out of my pocket. And it was an old style 100, and I handed it to him, and he looked it over and he flipped it around a second. And he kind of does this stuff, and he throws it in my lap and says, "This is no good." And I'm like, "Well, it's good everywhere else in the world." And he says, "No, it's outdated. It's no good." So luckily, Bud Carpenter was with me, and Bud pulled a $100 bill out of his pocket, the new style, handed it to him, and he looked at it and just walked off and left. You know, so, but I mean, he wouldn't take an old style $100 bill.
That's like, wild.
That works in every other country I've been to.
Yeah, I like, and you know, most people I've talked to, they say like a $20 bill will get you a long ways in most countries. Just a plain old $20 bill.
Yep.
And I know in in Mexico they say that all the time, just like a $20 bill, a cop doesn't have to say anything. You just slip him a 20 and he'd be like, all right,
yep,
on your way.
Well, so before we cross, we always make sure that we get plenty of 20s. You don't want to have hundreds because nobody can break one.
Yep.
If you have nothing but hundreds, every time it's going to be 100.
Yeah.
So you get 20s, you get some smaller stuff. But we also wait till we get across the border to buy our beer and our fuel.
Yeah.
And then everybody in that little town likes us because we spend a shitload of money with them. And, we take care of the local people there. And so we don't get messed with. We have a great time down there and everybody takes good care of us and everybody's very nice to us. And we come down, give them a pile of money, shoot a bunch of deer, and we leave.
Yeah. I think that goes for the same thing here in in these Western states. When everybody comes to hunt, go spend money at the bar. If you're going to buy beer, buy it at the local liquor store. And that gives you a lot of goodwill.
Right.
As long as you're not an asshole. If you're at the bar drinking and have a good time and tipping well, it brings a lot of goodwill. But if you're getting fucked up and fighting everybody, you're not going to fare so well the next time you come back.
It's a good way to get your head cut off.
Yep. Yeah. It really is, and yeah, I mean, that's kind of the world over, even here in the good old US of A, they say a dollar will recirculate like 6 to 10 times in the local economy before it moves on out into the broader economy. So, I mean, that's, small business, you treat small business right, they treat you right. And I think that's the world over.
Yeah, for the most part, that's right. I do see it other ways sometimes.
There's always there's corruption.
Bought a 12-pack of beer in Maybell tonight. It was like $20-something. So,
oof, yeah. There's the other end of that, but of course, corruption knows no country boundary either. So
that's fact.
Yeah, it's wild. But are you? So you probably, is there any big game that you haven't shot that you'd like to?
There's I got a weird list of things. I'm not really a collector, so to speak, like some of these big time hunters are. Like, I don't need to shoot every species on Earth. Like I would personally rather go hunt the great places that I really like with my good friends every year versus go shoot some other species somewhere just to say I got one. But like a big Yukon moose, Alaska Yukon moose, that's an animal that I'd like to hunt someday, and I haven't had the opportunity. It's at this stage, I'll figure it out, but man, they've gotten so expensive to go on a guided hunt or something that like I just can't. It's hard for me to spend that type of money on a hunt when that's what I do for a living.
Yeah.
Now the other side of that is it's not like I understand it. I'd like to pay those guys to do it because I know how hard they work and I understand what they're doing to make this happen. But man, it's 30, 35, 40 grand when you're said and done.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, 40 grand, I can do a lot of things with 40 grand. I do want to hunt an elephant for myself at some stage. I want to kill an elephant, but I don't want to go hunt an elephant for his ivory and go kill the biggest tusker that I can find. I want to be over there at some stage and have a problem elephant that has to be killed and be like, I'll shoot it. I'll pay the money. I'll go do it and go kill one like that, because I've been around them a lot. I've been on some other hunts, and there is no feeling in the world like an elephant hunt when you're 20 yards from a elephant and it's pissed off, and there's nothing like it on earth that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But like I said, I don't want the ivory. I'm not in it for the trophy. I'm in it for that feeling. And so like, I don't want to go hunt one that doesn't need to be killed, because we have enough problem with poaching and other bullshit anyway. I want to go hunt one that needs to be killed. That's destroying a village or killing farmlands or, for whatever reason. Like, I want to go hunt that one, not one that another hunter might pay 50 or 100,000 for and save this village for the year. Like, I don't need to shoot that one.
Yeah. And, but like when you go shoot an elephant, like you can't bring the meat back. So, or I don't think you can you?
No, you can't import meat from anywhere except for Canada into the United States.
Okay. So like, but all that meat goes to feed a village there.
Yeah. For the most part, generally speaking, everybody around knows that there's an elephant hunt going on. And when they kill an elephant, they radio back or they call somebody, and it's, I mean, a very small amount of time, whatever they start coming now.
Yeah.
You know, so however long it takes, but all of a sudden there'll be 10, then 20, there might be 50, there might be 100 people there that are cutting chunks off that elephant and taking it. And when it's left and done, I mean, there's nothing left but bones.
That's insane. How's the process of, say, like just field dressing an elephant? I mean, because shit, what do those things weigh? A couple thousand pounds?
What more than that? Up to like 14,000.
Fuck.
They're like a garage, man. Like 14 would be a really big one, but like 10,000, 8,000, 12,000.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of axes, machetes. I mean, there's no like, you know, you got a deer, you try not to get blood on yourself. You take the skin off, you get quarter by quarter, back straps. If you're going to use the ribs, you rib them up, whatever. Like, there it is. Start whacking chunks off.
That's insane.
Yeah. You know, it's too big to do anything with. So. Oh,
yeah. And are they a ruminant animal or?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I thought they were. That's wild. I would love to see that someday. Just watch the chaos of
YouTube it. I guarantee there's 1,000 videos on YouTube of it.
I'll have to look that up. That's insane. What's the like? As you say, you know, you said there, everybody or every place has something about it that's really cool. But what's the absolute like most dog shit country you've ever dealt with?
You know what? Honestly, I didn't like Dubai at all. Yeah, I thought that it was such an absolute utter gross. It's like Las Vegas on steroids, but they don't really do anything. It's just for show. It's such a gross misuse of resources and everything that like, I hated it there.
Well, it's just a financial center, isn't it? For the most part.
Absolutely. I mean, the Burj Khalifa, that building, like you're like, who the fuck wants to live all the way to the top of that? I guess it sways like 50 feet at the top of it. It's like you're in your house moving 50 feet at a time. You know, like there's just these things that I hated that. Where else have I been that I just couldn't stand? The Middle East stuff, I have not had a good. I didn't care for it much.
I can't imagine that anything in the Middle East is like, yeah. I mean,
LaGuardia Airport.
I've been there. I haven't been overseas I've been over the border into Mexico, and that's about it.
Yeah, LaGuardia Airport is one of the worst places I've ever been in my life.
You know what DFW is too? Dallas Fort Worth is a shithole airport.
Yeah, but you can get through DFW and get the fuck out.
Yeah, where that's
LaGuardia,
true.
You're stuck in New York, and that's what it is you're in the middle of New York, but all the bad things of New York. Yep. Nobody's happy. Everybody's in a hurry, and it's all somebody else's fucking fault.
Yep, every time.
And so you're like, we're all going to get on a plane eventually. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, so like Chicago O'Hare is kind of like that too, but at least it's the Midwest.
The worst ever.
Yeah, at least it's the Midwest, so people are somewhat friendly. But like,
I have no problem with the people at Chicago O'Hare, but I've had some, I guess 22 flights through Chicago O'Hare, and I've been delayed or canceled 22 of the 22 times.
I've been there.
So I haven't.
Three,
I've flown
I
out of
think.
O'Hare and I haven't flown out of O'Hare in like 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
And I refuse to. I will fly.
I don't blame you.
I'll pay more and go through Memphis or anywhere else but O'Hare, because the chance of you getting in and out of O'Hare without some kind of a delay is almost non-existent.
Yeah, you're right. I've been through there 3 or 4 times, and same thing. I've never not been delayed. Never once.
Yeah. But the people were fine. I never had trouble with the people.
Yeah.
But the actual operation of the airport, they get that bad wind. They've got the weather that, it's, I'm not saying it's anybody's fault other than Mother Nature, but it's still, it's screwing up my day is what it's doing.
It's a shitty place for an airport is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I got to say, Denver might be one of the better airports on earth or at least in the U.S.
In terms of an international airport with ease of use and having their shit together, Denver's pretty good.
Yeah.
I almost got thrown in jail in Dubai as well on the way out because I had a rifle scope in my bag. Some lady in my backpack, my carry-on. And the lady there, she lost her shit and she called the army, called the cops, called everybody. And so I got detained for a little bit. And then the army guy shows up and like the head army dude of whatever army people were there, I don't have any idea what they were.
Yeah.
Walks in and he's like, let me see what you got. And I pull it out and I show it to him. And he's like, is this it? I'm like, yeah, that's what I have. And he rolled his eyes in the back of his head and he's just like, I don't know what he said in whatever language that is, but it was Jesus fucking Christ. Translated. And he turned around and he looked at her and she's like, okay, you can go. And then everybody just left me and there I was standing with my bomb or whatever they thought it was by myself. And I'm like, oh, all right, well, here we go. I've never had trouble. Other LAX, I had trouble one time. I was headed to New Zealand and I had a rifle with me, but I made the mistake of not flying one airline back when Frontier wasn't a huge piece of shit of an airline.
Yeah.
I flew Frontier to LAX and then I had to get on United. And so I had to go I don't know how far this was, but I walked forever to get across it. I mean, at the time, especially, I'm an in shape hunting guide and I got to where I was like, this is ridiculous because I'd gone a couple of miles. Yeah. And finally get in there. I'm standing in line. I'm like third from the security to check my rifle. And there's this nice older couple behind me. And we're talking, having a great time. Life's good. And we talked for 5 minutes or something. And she's like, what's in the case? And I said, oh, it's a hunting rifle. And she lost her shit. I mean, started screaming, he's got a gun, all this other stuff. And so I dropped the case and I'm like, lady, settle down. It's locked. It's in a case. I'm in the security line. It's all legal. And so I caused a stir. And so the security really had their way with me on that one. Because I pissed off half the airport, Oh, and yeah. Barely made my flight, but I did get there. So from here on out, we don't travel with cases that look like gun cases anymore. We get them tough packs or something that looks like you might have golf clubs in it or anything but a rifle. And
I was going to ask you what that was like because there's been several times I was going to fly home for opening weekend of pheasant season, and I was like, I don't want to deal with taking a shotgun through the airport.
But where are you flying out of?
Reno. So Reno's not
Reno. You're good. You're good.
Yeah. Reno's not a problem.
Dude, Reno's like Hayden. They understand. They get it. Show up with your gun, throw it on the table. They'll be like, all right, sweet. Where are you going hunting?
Yep.
Kansas. Sweet. All right. See you later.
Yeah.
It's no big deal.
I'm lucky in that way, but it's Yeah, I assume there's always some sort of something when you're checking a firearm on an airplane.
It's usually not that big a deal, as long as you have all your right paperwork and whatnot. If you get a 4457 when you're going overseas, that's a customs form.
Yeah,
all that you need. And then say if you're going to Zimbabwe, like when we went to Zimbabwe, I was filming the Extreme Huntress contest. So we had 4 Extreme Huntress contestants, the producer, me, 3 judges, 2 or 3 judges. We had like 12 rifles. And to go through the Zimbabwean airport, like we showed up, there's 12 or 13 rifles, all these different people. And then they had to actually call and find the Army guy to come do this because there's only one guy that can do it. But it still only took like 2 hours to get out of the airport, even with all that stuff, because they kind of had their shit together and we had all the right paperwork.
yeah.
Now, Argentina, on the other hand, don't ever fly to Argentina with a rifle or a shotgun for that matter, because it's just too much headache. Borrow their rifle, rent their rifle or shotgun, wear their shit out. It's worth the money.
Yeah.
That place I go, they charge you like $3 to $5 a round for ammo. It's hard to get. And they don't even charge a rifle rent. So why would you go through the headache of taking a rifle with you when you're going to go down there and shoot 3 rounds anyway? It's going to cost you $15. Who cares?
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense. That's interesting. Yeah. You've been a busy dude since we last drank beer. That's seen some cool shit, man.
Yeah, it's nonstop. You just can't ever slow down. Just don't say no to an opportunity.
Yeah, for sure.
You never know where to lead you.
Yeah. Well, we need to hook up one of these. I'll draw a tag one of these days, and I'll have you come help me hunt.
I'm game, man. You just let me know.
Hell yeah, dude.
Sometime we should probably just hang out and drink beer.
I think that too. I mean, that's probably first order of business, but it's been way too damn long. I sure miss those. There's not much I miss about Fort Collins, but I do miss hanging out with. There's some good people that we hung out with.
Hell of a crowd of people.
Yeah, for sure. I got to catch up with Cozy here last summer. I guess she's a Stetson now, but yeah. So that was cool. Small world. Jese Stetson, he ends up sponsoring the show and go to his wedding, and there's Megan Cozy with his cousin. It's pretty wild.
Well, I grew up Frank. He's been one of my buddies since we're kids, I guess.
Yeah. So, good guy. It was the first time I'd met him, and he's a good guy. So
Frank's a funny sucker. He's a wild card.
Yeah. Yeah. It's it's kind of weird how it all. Fort Collins was kind of the melting pot of the different corners of Colorado, and there was none of us that really belonged there, but boy, we kind of owned that town for a little while.
Yeah. Well, you see, we got Schroeder imported up to Craig finally.
Is he up there now?
Oh yeah, he's been living here I think 2 years.
No shit.
Maybe
That's
3
cool.
now.
Cool.
So yeah, we're importing them one at a time. We got Cozy, we got Schroeder. We're working on it one at a time.
There you go. We've got an influx of Californians in here to Western Nevada, and rural Nevada is about as good as it gets. If you stay if you stay out of Reno and Vegas, I mean, Nevada's about as good a state as there is. But boy, there's just too many Californians moving in, and
well, it's the lazy Californians that go to Nevada because they're like, we want to go to Colorado, but we don't want to go that far.
Right. And then, they all moved to Vegas, which, why anybody would want to live in Vegas, I don't know. I don't
ever want to go to Vegas again in my life, ever.
I mean,
for any reason.
I didn't even
go every year.
I didn't even party in Vegas. I just now, and I have no desire to. I'm getting old enough now where that shit just doesn't appeal to me. And it's, it was 10 o'clock and it was still 110 degrees outside, and just
hey, Matt.
God. Hey, how are you?
She's
I'm gonna do that now.
she's bringing me beers.
There you go.
But no,
Yeah.
Vegas is, man, 3 days max. You show up, you party. The next night you're kind of fucked, and so you just relax and you sleep through something on accident, and then you get up, and then the next night, and then you better get the hell out. But like I have to go to shows there, like expos, like Shot Show and Safari Club, that stuff. And Safari Club moved back to Reno for 1 year, and I loved every second of it because I like Reno way better than Vegas.
Oh yeah, Reno's way better.
Now we're back in Vegas again, so now it's like 8 days in Vegas for that thing. So man, we get to where we hibernate. Like everybody will start calling you, just start muting or shut your phone off, because if not, you'll be at the bar till 4 a.m. every morning with clients, other outfitters, people from overseas you haven't seen since last year at this time, whatever. And there's always somebody to catch up with. Yeah. Or somebody you're trying to get money out of, Yeah. And you're like, God, I can't handle it. Oh, I hate that place. And now it used to be fun when a buffet was $9.99, or you could get a cheeseburger for $12 and beers were cheap because you were going to gamble. Now you go get a cheeseburger, it's $53, and beer's $8 no matter where you go, unless you're losing all your shit on a slot machine somewhere.
Right. Yeah. Most of these places now, like if you don't have 20 in the machine, they're not serving you. Like
you sit down, they'll watch you and be like, I'm not serving you a beer until I watch you lose a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And Reno's not as bad, but there's still places like you got to put a 20, and you can't just put a dollar bill in the penny slots and expect a drink. Like you got to have at least 20.
Have you ever been to that casino down at Texoma, right on the Texas-Oklahoma line? I think it might be
I haven't.
Big Indian casino, and it is a beautiful place. It's awesome. But I'll tell you right now, if I go to a digital craps table where I have to put money down and the guy pushes a button and it shows me what dice I rolled, you can kiss my ass if you think I'm going to put $1 on that table.
Yeah, no, that's no shit. I've seen those. I've never played at one. Obviously, I'm the same way. Like, no, if I'm playing
digital blackjack, playing computerized blackjack in a casino, screw off, man. I want luck of the cards, man.
Yeah. I'll play like at the bar. You'll play blackjack, for $1 a hand or something there. But yeah, like the machine that's got the automated dealer and what? Nah, fuck that. I'm playing table games because I like table games.
We went there with an ex-girlfriend I had out of Abilene that her and her buddies like to go there or whatever. So I went with them. And we got there. They started having a good old time losing my like son of a bitch. I'm like, I'll be at the bar because I am not dealing with this bullshit.
Me and my wife we were just kind of piddling around at. It was during the Reno rodeo, and I met one of my high school buddies there, and I was at. Oh, I think we were getting ready to leave, and I was like, I'm gonna play a couple rounds of roulette, and so we were there for like half hour or something like that, and they changed dealers. Like I laid my bets down, and I split between the first and second dozens, and then they changed dealers, so I still had my chips out there, and they checked bets and everything, spun the deal, and that was like I was like, if I'm this is my last roll, regardless if I win or lose, and rolls a 00. Fuck, whatever. And there's a little Pakistani dude that was dealing, and all of a sudden he just looks at me and he goes, "No bet here, bet here, no bet here." Oh, okay, guy, I lost, so I don't, whatever. Yeah. And then he grabs my chips, and then he just starts counting out chips to me. And I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, what did I do?
And my wife, like, she wasn't gambling. She was just kind of sitting there watching. And she's like, cash out. And I was like, I'm cashing out. I don't know what's going on. But then he starts like counting out chips to everybody at the table. And I was like, and he was pissed. Like, like, he was real pissed. And I was like, well, I don't know. So it took me like 2 days worth of Googling. Like, we went up to, where did we go after? We went on a little road trip after that. And like the whole time we were driving, I was just looking up just gambling websites, and I was like, and it turns out that was an illegal bet because the house loses their edge because the dozens they pay out 3-1. And so if you split it, you're going to win 2 times out of 3. And so the house has no edge, so they don't allow that bet. And he didn't catch it. And so he had to pay out everybody at the table. It was like a $10 bet, and I think I cashed out with like $80 or something like that.
Nice.
And and he had to pay everybody at the table. Like, and I don't know how. And it probably came out of his pocket.
You know where that wouldn't have happened? On a digital blackjack machine.
That's true. That is true. Well, shit, Miles. That's kind of getting late over in your neck of the woods, but I got to go tomorrow and get my last x-ray on my collarbone. I decided to destroy it earlier in the spring. So one more x-ray on it to let me know that I'm good, and then we're good. So I don't even have to get up early tomorrow. Perfect. Well, let's I'm going to end this recording. We'll start a new one. We'll do a little bit of extra content for my Patreon people. And, but for everybody else, thanks for tuning in. Miles Fedenis. I said that right?
Yes, sir. Nice job.
Thanks. And, how do they get a hold of you if they want to come hunting or got any questions for you?
I'm on Facebook, Miles Fedenis, Facebook, Instagram. I don't have a lot of content updated all the time, but if you get on there and send me a message, I will get it that day or very soon, because I am out of service quite often. And I will respond. Or World of Hunting Adventure. So www.worldofhuntingadventure.com. That's the consulting business. Double H Outfitters, Western Sky Outfitters, either one of those. So, any of the above. You're probably as well off to just go on my Facebook page or Instagram page, get a hold of me there, and then we'll go from there, get you where you need to be.
Perfect. And thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and move your ass. We're burning daylight.
Well, the fell of the hours of butter, only out of flower, dying from its bloom and born. Blink of one eye and it's half past by, and nothing left but spikes and thorns. And his wheels are on fire, but he's not to be admired or pitied for the choices he made. In, out, and gone with a breaking dawn, or anywhere time he's buried. If you ever wondered how a man goes wrong, watch and wait, baby, but it won't take long. Split your head on the cold hard facts, tough luck and crying shame. Tough luck and crying shame. Well, he used to think heaven was a place that he could get in. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Cost unsold for a pitch black hole. It's building up a think of shame. And he used to go running for the things that he was gunning. Now all he ever does is waltz. Shuffle 2 feet to the same sad beat, dancing while the nightmare talks. If you ever wondered how a man goes wrong, watch and wait, baby, but it won't take long. And split your head on the cold hard facts, tough luck and crying shame. More tough luck and crying shame. Sometimes the good you do ain't good enough, and the bad is bad enough to drag you down. Time takes a twisted toll on everyone you'll ever know. she's ever found. If you ever wondered how a man goes wrong, watch and wait, baby, but it won't take long. Split your head on the cold hard facts, tough luck and trying.